receivers moved in surprising degree during this trade period, and the last one to go yesterday was a guy who, the moment Davante Adams arrived in New York, the Jets almost instantaneously, as we reported at PFT, got to do that. Got to pat yourself on the back because nobody else is going to.
Nobody's going to do it.
Immediately they were looking to trade Mike Williams immediately, and then when Alan Lazard got injured and landed on IR with a chest issue, I thought, well, wait a minute, you got Garrett Wilson, you got Davante Adams, Lazard's gone. Are you going to trade Mike Williams now and bump up Xavier Gibson and other younger and less proven? But they did, and they didn't waver in their desire to move on from Mike Williams. I guess the moment that he got called out publicly by Aaron Rodgers for running the wrong route at the end of the Monday night loss to the Bills, that was the moment where it became clear that Mike Williams would be gone. And the Steelers get him because the Steelers are like the Ravens. Yeah, we're interested. Yeah, we've got needs, but we're not going to overpay. We'll do without before we overpay. They were in on Brandon Ayuk in the offseason, but they weren't going to overpay the player or the 49ers. They were in on Davante Adams. Well, Adams wanted to go to the Jets, but the Steelers never would have done that deal. If it had fallen through with the Jets, they weren't going to do that deal unless they could get Davante Adams for what they wanted. So for a fifth-round pick next year, they get a guy who was drafted a few spots before Patrick Mahomes. We mentioned Marshawn Lattimore was one after Mahomes. Williams was a few before Mahomes, and Williams has had some good years. He had that torn ACL week 3 last year when he was with the Chargers. It takes time to fully overcome that, and if it's just not working where you are, if the quarterback doesn't trust you yet and probably never will, go to a place where there's a big drop on the depth chart from WR1 George Pickens to WR2 Van Jefferson. All due respect, Van Jefferson.
Yeah, if we were in school and you mentioned these teams like the Ravens and Steelers and the Chiefs, those would be the students that you want to copy their notes. I get the sense, Mike, you were one of those students that we wanted to copy your notes. You didn't want to copy my notes. We wanted to copy you were one of those guys. I can tell. You were one of them. But see, the Ravens, no? I don't know.
Couldn't read my handwriting.
Okay, that's it. But as far as knowing the material, the teacher saying, now look at what Michael is doing. Look at what Michael Florio is doing. Why don't the rest of you see what he did here? If you are a bad franchise, talking to you, David Tepper, if you're a bad franchise, and he knows this because he was with Pittsburgh, you should follow the example of Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Kansas City. I mean, it's San Francisco to a degree. There are things that they just do. They repeat good behaviors, these patterns that make sense, that are a formula for success. Exactly right with Pittsburgh. You knew they needed a receiver, and other teams knew it too, but okay, I need a receiver, but I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to give up my first-round pick for it. I'm not going to overpay by 25%. So I'll just wait. If it works out for me, great. If it doesn't, okay, we'll figure it out. And that's how good teams think. We'll figure it out. This one guy is not going to save our season. We'd like to have him, but we're not going to abandon our principles to bring him in. And by the way, I'll just say this. I sat next to a guy. I sat next to a guy who almost got a perfect score on the SAT. Unfortunately, on the SAT, every test is different. So it's not like I can look
that's
over
a problem.
his.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But
that would be an issue. That's not the guy to copy off of. Yeah. So I also suspect that the Steelers had a price that they were willing to pay, and that was the price. And the evidence of it is there's no back-end grains of rice, 6th round, 7th round, none of that stuff to make it look like it was a hard-fought negotiation. I think the Steelers said, hey, Jets, if you want to trade Mike Williams, we'll give you a 5th-round pick in 2025, and that's it. Well, what about a 4? No, it's a 5th-round pick in 2025. Well, what about a swap of 6 and 7 in 26? No, it's a 5th round. If you want to trade him for a 5th-round pick, call us. That's that. And it might have been they put the word out to several different teams. here's our offer for this guy. Adam Thielen, Panthers, here's what we'll give you. Mike Williams, Jets, here's what we'll give you. Kendrick Bourne or KJ Osborne, Patriots, here's what we'll give you. Elijah Moore, Browns, here's what we'll give you. And whoever calls first, that's who we're doing the deal with. So when you are a team that has that history of just steady at the wheel, no sudden moves, no desperation, it's like any negotiation. Every car I've bought as a fully formed adult, I've bought after I convinced myself I didn't want it anymore. Because in making my final pitch to the salesperson that this is all I'm paying, and if it's not enough, I don't care.
It's okay.
I don't want it. And what the problem is, once you accept that mindset, when they call up and say, we'll take your offer, it's like, I don't want it. And I got to talk myself back into it because, like, hey, I win.
Right.
I get it for what I wanted it for. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Go get the car.
Yeah, I wasn't pretending. I really did talk myself into not needing it at a certain price. Now you're going to give me my price? I'm not sure I want it. Or they give you that thing, well, let me go talk to my manager and I'll see what I can do. And a lot of times they come back with the offer that you're looking for, and other times they come back and say, oh, you know, it's a really good car. We can knock off $400. Okay, fine. Nope. No thanks. Walk out. We'll talk another time. But that is the point of freedom. That is the point of liberation, where you set the terms and say, I'm not going above this. And if I don't get it, that's all right. There are other cars out there. There are other players, and we'll see what happens. But by the way, this Mike Williams, this is such a good fit for Russell Wilson, isn't it? I mean, think about what Russell Wilson wants to do. And he's already done it in his first couple of games, going downfield, throwing it up to Carl Pickens, and letting Pickens make a play. Well, Mike Williams, 6'3", 6'4", another one of those guys, not that he's necessarily a burner at this stage, 30 years old, but can win a jump ball for you. The guy gives you another opportunity when they focus on Pickens. So I think Williams is a good fit for the Steelers. You mentioned Adam Thielen. He would have been a great Steeler too, but I think this makes a lot of sense for Pittsburgh.
You know, we haven't been doing this long enough where I'm at the point where I will gratuitously call you out for misspeaking, but you did say Carl Pickens, not George Pickens. You did. Which takes us back.
What that is?
That takes us back.
Oh,
At least you didn't say Slim Pickens.
Yeah. See, you want to talk about dating yourself? There it is. This is what happens. You see a lot of players, you say, oh yeah, Carl Pickens. He was, but also a receiver.
Yeah, that's
also
right.
A receiver.
That's
also
right.
Pretty good.
And played in the same division. And was traded at one point.
Yeah, in the Pickens matchup,
Now he was cut.
I'm going to go Pickens versus Pickens. I think at this stage, I'll take Carl over George, but we'll see. It's still early in George's career. George Pickens, not Carl.
Here's Aaron Rodgers from his weekly visit with Pat McAfee and A.J. Hawk on the news that Mike Williams, the man he called out after the Monday night loss to the Bills, had been shipped off of the roster. Have a listen.
And Mike's a good guy. He'll be good in that locker room. Obviously, got a lot of great veteran leadership. He's had a nice career, and sometimes change of scenery is great for certain guys. I mean, she was great for me. It was fun, kind of get re-enthused and stuff. And we kind of knew with Devontae coming in that there'd be less targets for everybody because G's leading the league in targets. He's gonna get his targets, and Tay's dynamic player. He's gonna get his targets. So if this gives Mike more opportunities, that's awesome. And we wish Mike well.
Fighting back the tears, Aaron Rodgers was.
We wish Mike well.
Choking. Mike's a good guy. Mike's a good guy. Mike is pursuing other interests.
Right. That's the email goes out. Today, we want to announce today is the last day that Mike Williams will be with us. We wish Mike well in his future endeavors. Okay, see you later. In about 45 minutes, your email will be disabled, and like Robert Saleh, we might escort you out of the building. See you later. Doesn't he talk like he talks like the general manager? All right, this is good. It's a good fit for him. It's a change. We thought he needed a change of scenery. Mike's a good guy. Yeah, but we're going to move on with what we have here. But, all the best to Mike in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because Aaron Rodgers didn't like him. The change of scenery is the island on which former family members and friends of Aaron Rodgers reside for life. That's where Mike Williams is as far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned. And the same game that culminated in Williams running the wrong route and then being called out by Rodgers for it, he dropped a pass. And Troy Aikman said, hey, trying to win the trust of the quarterback, this isn't the way to do it. And that's the reality. Rodgers is not going to trust you, and if he can't trust you, he doesn't want you around. I said from the moment Davante Adams was acquired, somebody's got to be the odd man out. With BFF number 1 in the building and BFF number 2 in the form of Allen Lazard on the roster already, and it's not going to be Garrett Wilson, it's Mike Williams. It was obvious from the get-go. Even with Lazard injured, it's still Mike Williams out the door for that 5th-round pick in 2025. And again, you're absolutely right from Pittsburgh's perspective. We've seen Russell Wilson throwing the ball down the field, and it's fun to watch. And it's not just George Pickens. He was throwing deep balls to other receivers when we saw them last on Monday night, week 8. And you put Williams in that mix, yes, you got 2 guys now that you can really trust. And he's willing to trust. He's willing. That's the thing I love, and that's what's so underrated about Russell Wilson. I said this once he started consistently throwing to George Pickens. It's been obvious since the moment Pickens' talent emerged that all you have to do is throw it to him. Oh, he's covered? Throw it to him. There's 2 guys on him? Throw it to him. And Russell Wilson trusts his guys to go get the ball, and it empowers the receivers. They feel and this is the Aaron, and this is the Sims thing that I've learned from him, and he's absolutely right. Rodgers is so worried about completion percentage and touchdown to interception ratio. How dare you not catch that pass? How dare you let the other guy catch that? Wilson doesn't care. He's going to trust you. He's going to throw it to you. And what happens? Guys go get it. It helps that it's a beautiful ball that's accurate, but he trusts his guys to go get it.
It's almost like he's a quarterback who has the ability to think like a receiver, because most good receivers think they're open all the time. They always said it. Was that was that Jamar Chase who said earlier this year? I'm always, or last year, I'm always bleeping open.
George Pickens put it on his eye strips.
That's right. Yeah, he did too. He feels that way. And by the way, I got to get to the point where, so I'm still like the visitor coming in. You say, you open up your home and you say, hey, go to the refrigerator, go get yourself a drink. And I'm still that visitor who says, nah, I can't go to your refrigerator and just pull it open. So I'm putting bleeping instead of the sorry London and just saying the real word. You'll know I'm comfortable in the house when I just drop it. So, okay.
I'm waiting.
Now, I'll say,
I'm waiting. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.